we feel like we get when we feel like we get to a good stopping spot, we'll stop the video, and if you have any more questions, we're happy to go over those. So, all right, let's see if technology hates me or not this evening. So, hopefully the shared screen shows up here. And we're gonna try kind of fast forward a little bit through introductions, I think. And we'll give it a go.
And the lakefront and the great city of Chicago nearby. But we've always had the issue of pollution that's gone along with the industry, the highways. And it's not just one type of pollution. So as a chemist, I always looked at this and went, okay, why are we doing studies? We're just isolating one pollutant. We're only looking at lead, whatever the case may be. So for years, I was talking with people and saying we need to look comprehensively at the pollution in the area because this is affecting people. I met Ellen Wells during the whole fiasco with the USS Lead Superfund site. And she came to the table as an epidemiologist with that same perspective. We need to look at this more holistically. And so we gathered other people who are part of our partnership, our science team now, who also cared very much about this. And we all came with different backgrounds and started going, okay, to do science and these kind of studies the right way, unfortunately, it takes a bunch of money to do that. And so we went through years and years of writing grants, years and years. And why have we not known about this kind of information? Why have we not gathered it together and used our resources over all these years was something that I never quite understood. But we finally got the funding. And it's been just a great last 4 years moving forward. Prior to that, when we all came together, we were doing what we could without the funding. So we've been together and working together for a while. And then the other part of this is not just the scientists, but the community. It's the community voice that needs to be there. That's the one thing that I learned when I first started interacting with the community. The community felt burned time and time again. We go and do the study, the science would come in and do the study, money's used up, we're done. And the community had every right to feel burned. So this Northern Lake County Environmental Partnership, it's that P that's the most important part of it, our NL, Northern Lake County, anyway, I'm talking about the P part of it, the partnership part of it. That's the most important, having the community at the table and listening to the community, telling us their concerns, their experiences, being part of this. And so my colleagues are going to talk about how we really need community partners now to do this next stage of our work. And what we're going to do is just kind of give you a little flavor from each of us coming up here to talk about the Northern Lake County Environmental Partnership. And we also think that the Chancellor, IU Chancellor Jackson's going to show up at some point. So when he does, he gets to interrupt us. So that'll be the deal here. Okay. But I'm going to start by asking Ellen Wells and Ken Brown to come on up and talk a little bit about their roles in this.
All right. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
So Julie gave most of the background information that I was planning to share with you. I know, right? So let me start off by saying what a rewarding experience it has been to work with this group of people, including all of the community members and including all of the scientists. It's taken a long time to get to where we are, and it's really the support and encouragement of everyone that helps us, all of us, keep going. And before we get started talking a little bit more about how how our partnership is organized. I'll let Ken do that. I really want to say that, like, at this moment, it's really great to see everyone here and coming together, because I feel that the work we do is more important now than ever. And so it's really great to see all of you here supporting it.
I will echo what Julia said and what Ellen said. My name is Ken Brown from Hope College. I teach in the chemistry department. I've been a part of this research team for about 4 years. And I want to say that it is truly a delight to be part of this research team. Although I'm in Michigan, I come to Indiana. I feel as if I am welcome. I feel as if I am part of this research team. And so in my laboratory, we do a lot of chemical analysis, and I've had students to be part of my research group. And I tell them that in being part of this project, that there are 2 aspects of it. We have the science aspect, but even more important, we have the social human aspect of it. And I think this is where the community advisory board comes into play. So Julie mentioned that we have sought funding for a good number of years. And one of the things that actually helped us get the funding this time around was the fact that we were able to assemble a group of individuals from the community. Gary, Hammond, East Chicago, Whiting. These are individuals who live within the community. They want to see something done, not just words, but we want to see something done. What can we do as a partnership together to bring solutions to the environmental problems that we have here? And so it's been a joy and a pleasure of working with our community advisory board. They give us insight into different areas that we should pursue in terms of, where should we be going? What are the questions that we should be asking? And though we ask these questions, what are some of the possible solutions that can arise? And so the other thing for me that's really moving is that this is not something that's going to be accomplished by one institution. It takes a partnership between institutions coming together, and not just academic institutions, but organizations within the community that we can partner with. That's the strength of our partnership. That's the strength of what we do. And I think that as we come together, and I hope that we do have more events like this. I believe that as we come together, we learn about what we're doing. And for me, it's a great pleasure because I have heard about organization, but this is my first time meeting the faces behind the organizations. And so during this event, I just encourage everyone to, introduce yourself. Get to know one another. Make this a true open house event. Okay. And so to really kind of, I can continue on talking because I love this, but I would love for any of the members of our community advisory board, if you could just maybe stand up, introduce yourselves so that you can be recognized.
Hi. Good morning, everyone. Suzanne Chick, school social worker in City B, Chicago, 26 years. And I came up with Dr. Julie Peller. And church event many years ago. She said,
whatever you want and do it with
work or Keller community. So what Hammond, East Chicago.
It's on YouTube.
And I worked.
You can watch it here. What's it called?
For 8 years, 99, 2007. And then I went on to other schools in the district. The lead crisis hit, and all kids from gosh needed a place.
I might take a look at it.
Well, I was at Harrison Elementary. And so I was very, very invested. And I thank Julie for inviting me to get involved.
And
because
this
I saw the
engages
direct effects
rechargeable
of kids
systems of job,
who were
at
exposed
least
to lead from the old
from
one
seeking.
that the housing
I
complex was
had to
built on.
take my
So I still feel
it's
passionate
safe now.
and I'm
What
trying to
rechargeables?
Play.
in the research
I had
so that people in Chicago, the people that I work with, my coworkers, the children, their parents, can find out how they've been involved, how they've been impacted by all types of pollution. Or
Are you talking about batteries?
Yeah, okay, what's it, let me know what you, if you need help, let me know.
Okay, so it's solar power causes fires or something?
No, solar, light. Light.
Also on the south side of Chicago. And
Solar light causes what?
Causes C-A-U-S-E-N.
I heard about that and I said, oh, not you.
Fire.
So they kind
Okay.
of stopped me.
It's really important because we're trapped into this rechargeable
So much.
that yeah, how can I say has charges that
Is anybody able to hear me? Can we make sure we mute ourselves so that folks can hear okay?
All right, well, I don't know if I'll get to it this evening, but I will try and take a peek.
okay.
All right. So anything else going on?
No. No. No, everything's good.
Okay, glad to hear it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, nothing happening here either.
Well,
Same old, same old. And
Michael, do you
sometimes
think
that's
you
good.
can mute Andy for us?
I got no problem with that one.
all right.
All right, Robert, I will check out.
Going and told him about two also until he's going to check it out. I don't think he gets
Yeah, I thought he was in Florida. Is he home?
no.
Andy,
Okay.
Andy, can you hear us?
A work trip.
All right.
Well,
Andy,
yeah, yeah, nothing wrong with that.
excuse me.
Where it's nice and sunny and warm.
Michael, if you want to give
Okay,
me the
well, I'm gonna get
screen,
going then.
I can
But
probably mute Andy.
all right, I will try and check it out maybe this evening, okay?
How do
Okay,
I?
well, you
sent-
take care of yourself.
I
I
sent
think
her a
you
chat,
make
but
All
me
righty,
presenter.
bye.
she
Good.
can't hear.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Andy, can you mute yourself? Hello?
Is that under share?
I think so. But there's usually a little blue square with three dots in the top of a person's window, and you can click on that and say mute. Okay, there we go.
And just click, but if I click on that, how do I know that you'll get it?
Yeah, I mean,
Or,
she's got her mic muted now, so I think we can go ahead.
okay,
Not sure what happened to my video. Oh no. Now
yeah,
we're started back over again. Sorry, folks. Let's see. We were just having our community group share out. Okay.
I was actually not involved to be a member of the community affairs, the community advisory board. My husband David Klein was. And I heard about that and I said, no, not you, me. I wrote an email that they kindly allowed me to be my husband's place. The advisory board, and it's been just such a great experience meeting Suzanne and Juan and the other members of the committee. There's so much rich, deep community knowledge about everything that's been going on in terms of environmental degradation in Molina County for years and years. And Suzanne, you just get, one aspect of it. I live in Whiting, and I'm about 4 blocks from the BP refinery. And I see across the little inlet of the lake there, Cleveland Cliffs. And I've been telling folks here today that every day I look and see this big cloud of black fine particulate matter pollution come out of Cleveland Cliffs at about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And, I go to meetings that are hosted by the BP refinery and I ask them about their flares. And I never get any answers about what are the products of the combustion coming out of those flares. And I don't know who to ask about what is the chemical composition of the stuff coming out of Cleveland Cliffs. There just aren't answers for citizens who are curious about all these things and concerned about these things. So I'm a scientist, and the chance to participate in this kind of community-based science is really looking concretely at what's in our air, soil, and water, and getting answers to these questions it's been a great opportunity for me. This team of scientists is spectacular. So everybody in the whole region has this great opportunity to learn a lot about, gather a lot of information and a lot of knowledge about what's really going on in our environment. So thanks to the team.
We got Tim.
Come on, Tim.
Hello, everyone. I'm an undergraduate ecology major at Purdue Northwest. I lived in East Chicago my whole life. I really wanted the opportunity to do something good for my community that could affect the pollution that we face in the city of East Chicago. So basically, I remember before I found the Northern Lake County Environmental Partnership, I was kind of just doing whatever I could, looking into whatever I could to try to make a positive impact, as far as the environment in the area. And I basically, I kind of like talked to my family and tried to get my neighborhood involved in order for us to put air monitors on our property and to contribute to Dr. Peller's research and Dr. Wells as far as the biological study. I was very eager to participate in that as well, just because the neighborhood I'm from, New Edition, it has a history of combating the big polluters in the area. Tridebi and Praxair, we've been fighting them a long time. So I really wanted to do, everything I could while I was still in my 20s. I wanted to contribute as much as I could to any sort of environmental effort in the area. And I'm extremely thankful to everybody that I was able to meet, all of the experts that I was able to contribute to their research. Opportunities like this don't always come by. I was glad that I was able to do something to make a positive impact.
Thank you. Sure, yes.
Tim came to Carrie Gash Early Learning Center just this past Tuesday to our Black History program, and he spoke about environmental justice to all our parents and our kids, and very impactful. Yeah. So hope to get that up on YouTube so you can see how he spoke, as well as the people that performed, the children. Thank you, Tim.
Juan Eduardo, lifelong resident of
East Chicago, Indiana, and going on my 37th year probation officer for Lake County Court Division 2 in Crown Point, Indiana.
Yeah.
Advisory board member. Pretty much my responsibility is media, providing media suggestions to the organization, helping bring the public out, which I still need to work a lot on that. And I just thought of something right now, maybe for the next event. And I think we're very grateful for the organization and organizations that are part of this event today. But as Professor Brown said, that the key to is not just the people that are putting this together, it's getting the public here, because if there is no public, then the project is not going to grow if the public's not here to learn about what the organization is doing. So and that's a public that's English speaking as well as Spanish speaking. So you know what? One more thing, if I may. God bless you. My co-host Eve Gomez and I, we have a program on WLTH Radio. This is going to be this is our 16th year of doing our show, WLTH Radio. We are on Tuesdays from 7 to 8 p.m. and then Fridays from 5 to 8 p.m. And this Tuesday, we're actually bringing on a host of another program on WLTH Radio to talk about net school. This Tuesday, 7 to 8 p.m. Thank you so much.
And we have Lisa in the back there.
What?
Oh, I'm just talking to myself.
Working all throughout West Indiana. I also live in Whiting, within a mile of the BC Whiting Road.
Washing the new cow. Did a little better job than what I did, but it's not that.
I'm really excited to be a part of the board. I think, the newest member. So I'm just starting to get involved and meet everyone. A lot of you I've met through my work. And I am especially committed to get more people to participate.
So you said you got ginger?
Oh. People in these communities through my work. I really, really, really want to take the time to get the information out there and get more people signed up to actually participate in the study so we can get this really important data.
Oh.
And I will say one more thing in conclusion for LMI. So as the members of our advisory board spoke, they mentioned a deep knowledge.
Thank you.
Making a positive impact and communication. That is what the research team is about. That is what our community advisory board is about. We are about not just looking at the past history, but what's going on right now. Then as Tim spoke, how can we make a positive impact? And then how can we communicate what's going on to the public? So thank you very much.
One thing that you learn when you're doing science research is it takes time. You have to be patient. I see you're nodding your head, Esme. Yeah. A couple of the projects that we started a few years ago, we finally have gotten all that information together, and the posters are one way of getting that out. But we've got Chris Eisman and Esme Belser. Esme is actually the spokesperson for Graham Peasley, who's one of our members, but they're going to tell you about a couple of our prominent projects.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming today. I'm going to make this brief. Unfortunately, one of the things I was most excited about today was getting to interface with a lot of you after our presentations. And I have hundreds of little scientists coming to Valpo today that I have to go help their science judging projects and stuff. So I'm going to have to jet. But right at the beginning, Michael, where are you? Okay, so Michael in the back is on Tuesday. Where's Mike? Oh, there, yes. Is hosting event in the evening on Zoom. And if you have any questions for me, please feel free to join that event and talk to Michael about that. And we're happy to answer any questions later on. And real quick, just a summary of some of the air quality studies that we've done, and you can see on Dr. Lee's poster over here, and I've got a little poster kind of on the right here, stage left, I guess. It's what? Page's poster. Oh, okay, sorry. Apologies. Page's poster on the left there is some studies that we've done where we've really looked at the overlap of these small available purple air sensors that many of you may have heard about that we're hosting out in the community. And we're trying to sort of validate those against a lot of the EPA sensors that are out in the community as well. One of the issues with some of our federal regulations, which we all know can change, unfortunately, sometimes not in the direction many of us would like, but hopefully in a more positive direction in the future. We need to make sure that our sensors are doing just as good as those EPA sensors are. And some of these posters are talking about just that idea. And what we found so far is that we are able to, with the correct conversion factors, model the data that the EPA sensors are producing very well. The best part about that is that gives us the opportunity as a community to use these smaller, more affordable sensors in more of a hyper-local way, so that we have better spatial resolution of particular local air quality that's happening in Northwest Indiana. And I think the best thing about what we're doing is that those little sensors are on 24 hours a day, as long as they don't break, 7 days a week, all year long. And that's one of the things that we're really hoping to push forward in terms of policies, thinking about air quality that is measured every day, rather than perhaps every 3 days, which is unfortunately one of those parts of our federal regulations and policies don't require everyday testing. So we're doing that. We're trying to expand that work as much as we can. And thank you so much for your attendance today. Again, please attend the seminar on Tuesday. If you have any questions for me, you can certainly send me an email. Check out the posters. And as a lead in to what Esme is going to talk about, a lot of this air pollution actually ends up on the ground. And so we've also been taking a look at some of the deposited particles that we have in Northwest Indiana too. So thank you so much for your time, and have a great day.
So as Chris said, my name is Esme Belzer. I am not Graham Peasley, but I am one of Graham's grad students. He couldn't make it today, so I'm kind of his sub-in for the day. I will say though, just in terms of my absolute gratitude to be the opportunity to be a part of this organization. I'm an analytical chemist, which usually that means sitting in a box or with a bunch of electronics and instrumentation with nobody else and just analyzing things. It has been. Do I need to be interrupted?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We're gonna
continue as welcome, Chancellor Jackson. We please appreciate you coming in and saying a few words.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good to have you on campus. I know you said there was going to be a group. I didn't know we were going to have such a large group, though. I want to thank Helen and everyone for inviting me here. My name is Eric Jackson, and I'm the chancellor for Indiana University Northwest. I just arrived July 1st, and so I'm only been here for a few months. But it's been an exciting few months. And so throughout those months that I've been here, I've had an opportunity to engage in a variety of environmental discussions with various groups. The EPA has been here to host an event like this, but I had a chance to talk to them about potentially developing grants to advance the mission of research here on this campus. I understand now we're professors who do control burns to try to keep the environment controlled. I've also have members from American Water on my board, and they are reaching out to us to develop internships for our students to test lead, test water, and a variety of other things to focus on the environment. I have to say that I have an affinity for protecting the environment. Early in my career, when I was a young dean back in Fort Worth, Texas, my college, and my team and I, we wrote one of the first EPA workforce grants to develop a wastewater operator program to help bring back to life brownfields in Texas. There were 2 of those grants given out in the nation at that time, and I received one of those. And through that, we developed partnerships with the regional water districts and creating courses and training for individuals, 25 individuals to come to the program. And then they would have internships, paid internships with the regional water districts. And then they would have the first shot to interview for jobs. As you may well know, that industry is facing a large amount of retirements. Just simply, people are aging out of the workforce, and we need young people to get involved in this work again. And so that's some of the work. Fast forwarding, now I'm here, and then having all these variety of conversations again, and thinking about how we bring a wastewater program to this campus. And primarily, we want to do that, as you all know, the data centers are moving into this region, right? And one of the residual workforces that are going to be necessary for data centers will be wastewater operators to protect our environment. And the many other things that we value about this region is wildlife, is nature, and the many communities that we take part in. I've been here for a short time. I've enjoyed riding the bike trails, seeing all the nature, seeing the rivers, and being able to just enjoy that as a citizen. And like you, I want to protect that and understand what's happening to our environment and keep it in place for not only for me, since I bike ride, but for children in the neighborhood as well. I know we have talked about developing educational programs for youth who come to our campus to understand and be educated about what's happening in their environment, and hopefully they become future advocates for the overall environment here in the Northwest region. And so when you gather here at Indiana University, Northwest in particular, and when you gather here and discuss these types of topics, and you engage our faculty, our staff, and our students in research, that only adds value to IUM. And it helps me amplify the voice of this campus. And so I just want to thank you all for the work you do and for choosing to hold events like this here at Indiana University Northwest. So welcome, and I hope you'll have a great meeting. While I'm here, are there any questions of me or anything? If not, good to meet you all. Have a great day.
Well, one question.
Yes, sir.
One thing that we have a workforce here is sometimes needs education. And at one point, IU did a good job of doing kind of like swing shift classes for students that work shift work. And I think we need to drive back to that process of to open up the school to those people that are actually have full-time jobs that are looking to increase their educational opportunity and feel like they're not locked out. You know, because those people that are out there working in the mills and the refineries there, they are paying taxes and support this place. So we need to make sure they have all the availability of here, come here and get an education and upgrade their skills too. So if you could work on that, because that helped me years ago. Otherwise, I'd have never gotten a degree. And Peggy Elliott was the chancellor. And Ruth Needleman was labor studies.
So, and so the, for that, again, I'm well aware of that, because I too was not a traditional student. And so I went through the military route, and when I finally decided to go back to school, like my mother told me, I was an older student, probably about 27. I already had a wife and a young child. So having academic courses that were flexible, and like many of these students in this region, I was working 7:30 at night to 7:30 in the morning on a security shift. And so being able to study, have flexible classes and things like that were very important. And so for our academic colleges, right now, they are going through what I call a visioning process. And throughout that visioning process, they get to determine what they want to be in the next 5 years. And understanding the landscape of students and all those things you brought up, they are to take those into consideration as they build plans and try to make sure they're in a position to accommodate adult learners coming to our university. So I say we're working on it.
And the other thing in this too is, no, it's not your fault, but they decimated the labor studies program at IE. And coming out of that program, you have some great community organizers that come through that program too. So that's something we desperately need right now. Especially when we got the billionaires trying to invade all our communities and destroy them. So we need to make sure those things happen too, that we bring back activities that enable that these younger people understand how they have to do community organizing in order to preserve the community. And create these environments that we're not polluted on, because the boys, like the boys in BP on the other side of the ocean, they don't care about us here. And the same way with Nippon Steel, we're not concerned about Gary, Indiana, really, except if they get a bad image. But when the man, they have the money and they have the technology to upgrade Gary, Indiana, so that we don't have this pollution here. And the great work that these people do, it would complement that. So they could show, their studies would show where we're at, and 5-10 years now where we're at in the future if they would do the right thing.
So we're looking to make many community partners, especially with new businesses coming in and old businesses as well. We're also looking to make sure we're in a position where we are at the table to be able to talk about the educational needs of our community and ensuring that all citizens have an opportunity to the education and to a great environment. And through that process, be able to hopefully educate them about the things that we need as they as well. I appreciate your input, and I will take that back to my team as we continue to build.
Well, why you, right?
So why you?
Okay, I'll just start over because I forgot where I was. Okay, so I'm Esme, still at Graham Peasley. I'm a third-year grad student at Notre Dame who works with Dr. Peasley. I'm an analytical chemist. A lot of people talk about interdisciplinary work in chemistry, but usually that means, talking to a biologist every 3 days or something. But I have the absolute pleasure of getting to do actual interdisciplinary work where it involves, scientists from across the spectrum, but also community researchers and community partners. And that's been so important to me as a graduate student and just a lifelong learner. So thank you so much for that opportunity. I'm going to talk a little bit about my project specifically and Dr. Peasley's project, which is on that blue poster over there with the Notre Dame symbol on it. So we all know that Northern Lake County involves both legacy and ongoing contaminants. So there's historical contamination in addition to ongoing industrial pollution. And we were really interested to see if we were able to map some of those heavy metal contaminants throughout the region and be able to see, like places of high versus low contamination and be able to indicate maybe if there's one particular source of that contamination, whether it be either a historic contaminant or an ongoing industrial emitter. And so what we were really interested in doing is collecting road dust. Like Chris said, we hypothesized that a lot of that air emissions would eventually end up on the roadways in addition to the legacy contaminants. So we were really curious to see if we sampled the road dust, if we'd be able to see both of those sources. And so we collected about 400 different road dust samples. The collection process is genuinely as simple as it sounds. Put on a yellow vest. And this is with a lot of people in the room in addition to community partners. Drive around, look for places with a lot of road dust, pick it up in a glass vial, and then all of those samples made their way to Notre Dame, where I was able to quantify 25 different elements in those samples. And in doing so, with the help of John Paul, we did some geospatial analysis. We were able to create these maps where you can see regions of high versus low contamination for a whole slew of different elements. Again, I can talk more about this at my poster if you're really interested in a particular element. I can give you some more information. But so for some elements, we were able to find a particular source of that contamination, like manganese, for example. But for others, there's just so many sources in the region that it's hard to pinpoint exactly where they came from. So lead is a very important example of that. And so in the future, I'm actively working on getting the results of my study published, for peer review and to provide additional validity to the study. And then this just goes in tandem with all the other studies that are ongoing with the air emissions and also some of the indoor dust studies that Ellen's doing. So yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity to be a part of this.
Hey, Jody, come on up and all to talk about sort of our new home study process and future projects.
Okay, so this is what happens when you're at a conference last week and you miss the meeting. You don't prepare anything. So I'm just going to talk about what we're doing. So I'm Jody Allen. I always say that there are far smarter minds that I work with as far as the partnership goes, who are doing the hard science, analytics, all of that. I'm a board certified family nurse practitioner. So I come from what Ken was talking about, that more social, humanistic space, because I have seen the end results of what the pollution contaminants are doing to patients that I care for. Whether that's neurodegenerative issues, lung issues, cancers, I'm one of the people caring for them or diagnosing them. So that's kind of how I made my way into the partnership. I am a professor at Purdue University Northwest, but I also care for patients in Gary. So part of what we're doing, and if you've been a part of Northern Lake County Environmental Partnership, and you've been providing us with environmental samples, which I have environmental kits with me if you feel so compelled. We're also collecting some samples as well, and that's where I come in. I'm collecting some health information. I have a team of students and other colleagues at PNW that help me with that. And we're collecting health information. We're collecting some samples to help kind of correlate some of the contaminants with some health conditions that maybe you're experiencing, others are experiencing, and then as well as some other data that we're pulling from that. So it's really kind of immense what we're trying to do when there's not been a lot of this done previously, to be able to actually correlate some of the environmental pieces with the health aspects, which I'm obviously very passionate about. So I'm going to let John Paul talk momentarily, and then I might pop back in. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, my name is John Paul McCool. I'm a geographer at Valparaiso University. I'm focused on trying to understand the distribution of the heavy metal contaminants from the individual samples. Going forward, we're trying to make the most out of the material that we've collected to better understand the environment. So right now I am figuring out the particle size from each of those samples to understand which of the particles are potentially more likely to be inhaled and cause problems for people. We're also looking to use those samples to better understand the impacts they might have on living tissue. So there's some work going on, just being started down at Purdue, looking at the impacts of that very same material if it was to be inhaled. So currently it's just test tube studies to see whether or not it generates inflammation. Beyond just that, we're trying to understand other contaminants that might be present within those samples. So there's a dedicated lab down at Purdue looking at PFAS. And so they're using the samples from the street sediments that we collected, as well as the samples from home study. The ultimate aim is to better understand the relationship between the contaminants that we have identified and the potential impacts that these might be having. And the real question is whether or not the contaminants we're identifying in the broader environment and whether or not that makes its way into people's homes. And I think that's where the home study has become incredibly important, because just because it's outside doesn't necessarily mean that it's inside. And that's what really matters. Oh,
We're gonna finish up by bringing in just a few more people. To address these issues, I've talked to many people. We need the community, we need the science and the data, but then we also need the people who show up here in a really nice suit. Where are you, Mike, in the back there? I told him I had to wear my T-shirt to offset his nice attire as the lawyer in the room. So he and Rachel are great. They've become such an intricate part of our partnership. And that policy and law side, understanding what's allowed, what's not allowed, and where we can come in and really fight a fight when we can, and understanding overages of pollution, that sort of thing. So I'm going to ask both of you to come up. And then again, back to the whole partnership part of it and getting people involved. Alan, I'll pull you up too. So Alan is a retired physician who heard about us, and so he's bringing his healthcare experience and his community capacities to work with us as well. So we're always opening, to new people and new ideas to grow our understanding and to be more effective. So if the three of you would come up and finish us off, that'd be great.
He's looking dapper.
I'm just an empty suit.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Feller, and thanks also to the Northern Lake County Environmental Partnership for bringing us together today and inviting us to share a little bit about what we do. I'm Rachel Schwartz. I'm with the Conservation Law Center. We are a nonprofit environmental law firm based in Bloomington, Indiana. And Mike and I work in our environmental legal aid program, which is focused here in Northern Lake County. And I guess I just wanted to start off by saying what an honor it is to work here. I'm constantly inspired by the creativity and resilience and kindness of the community builders and environmental advocates who are here, many who are here today, which of course is so important because this region faces some of the most significant environmental health challenges in the country. Thanks, in large part to decisions, policy decisions that were made many decades ago. Yeah, and I think as the research we've heard about today demonstrates, we're still really coming to understand all of the impacts and sort of contours of the environmental impacts and public health impacts of some of those decisions. And I think it's probably fair to say that the policy environment that we're in right now, we can expect some of those challenges to intensify. So what are we doing about it? Mike and I, our goal in the environmental legal aid program is to make sure that the community has a seat at the table at every opportunity in environmental decision making. Whether that's at the very local commission level or in federal or state environmental permitting or enforcement and litigation, changes like Dr. Eisman was talking about to regulatory policy. We understand that this region is producing goods that are of benefit to people all over the world, but the burdens of that production are felt here. So we feel it's very important that the community's interests and voice be defended and elevated. I think we're all looking for more ways to get involved right now. So I hope everyone has the opportunity to speak with the the community advisory board members, speak to Jody or the professors here, about the opportunities for community participation in the research. I'm so glad we get to intermingle also with the amazing orgs who are here, and I think everybody can probably benefit from learning how we can get more engaged. And of course, Mike and I, we have our table back there. So, please do come chat with us about your environmental concerns, and we're happy to discuss more of the specifics of the work that we do. I think this is definitely a moment to be leaning in. Today I'm so glad that we get to be here together because I think we're building our collective knowledge. We're building our networks so that we're able to respond rapidly as things change, and developing a shared vision for what the environment here can look like. So thank you so much to the partnership and also IU Northwest for having us here, and I hope I have the chance to speak with many of you as the morning goes on.
So I'll just stop it there. Michael, is that a good spot? I know you wanted to have time for questions.
I think, I think that was about it. And so, would you like to say anything about your work initially, and then we could ask others?
Yeah, I mean, it's totally fine if people want to have either questions about our air quality study or our road dust study, any of the policy questions that Rachel was talking about, the overall partnership and our ideas and directions for the future with, how we're really trying to take some health surveys and look at some health metrics. We've got basically everybody that can answer those questions online tonight. So if folks have any queries about that, let us know. We're all here. Yeah.
Yes. Alan, did you have anything to say? Dr. Wells?
Yeah, I'm here. I mean, it was a really great event, and there's a lot going on. We could talk about the different research projects for a really, really long time, I think. There's a lot of really exciting work going on, and one of the things that I'm impressed with that we kind of talked about at the meeting is that how once we've started to do the initial studies here, it has inspired more people to think of new ideas and bring new things in, and like the kind of extra projects that John Paul was talking about. So, so that would add to the richness of everything that we're trying to do, and also that some of the things like the health studies that Chris Eisman referred to, we're starting to have results come out from some of the studies where we're looking at environmental media, the road dust and the air quality. And it's going to take, unfortunately, a little bit longer before we have firm data coming out from the health study. We're still recruiting people. We're still talking with people. And then so once we recruit everyone, we'll have to analyze the data. But there's a lot to look forward to in terms of getting information. I apologize. My dog is hungry.
Are there others that have either questions or?
I have a question. I'm just wondering, how do we know about going forward? How to hear about things that you're working on, or how people that weren't at the meeting can get involved, or what other opportunities are for community people?
We have a email address and a study website. If you give me a moment, I can post both of those to the chat. If you want to get involved with participation, I would recommend just sending us an email and we can talk to you more about that. And we will be, well, look, there is our website right there. Thank you, Chris Eisman. And yeah, so we'll post kind of major updates when we have them on the website. I'm really actually very excited to share that we just had a research paper accepted yesterday. So we're actually very, very close to being able to share a lot of really great information on air quality with you guys. And because it's hard to share the information before it gets accepted in the research publication, but since that got accepted, within the next couple of weeks, we'll be able to share that out with everybody. Did I answer your question fully there? I am looking for the email address for you too.
I think so. Um, I think it's just so hard if everybody is doing their own thing sometimes that it's really important that everybody connects and it sounds like that's what you did on Saturday. It just is that a good thing that keeps going, that, people are able to all come together to share what they're working on or how to, so that everyone is aware, like a Facebook page or, you know, um, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I just can think of a couple of different ones that I follow, Save the Dunes and Save Briar East Woods. And you know what I mean? There's a lot of people out there that are all, kind of all in the same boat. And if there is any kind of change that's going to happen higher up, they need to know that there's all these people out there from their community who are invested in their community. So,
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Okay. Rachel, do you want to add anything to what you said Saturday?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't think I have that much, that much out, although I'm happy to answer questions if I can. But yeah, I think in this, like the research, I guess maybe one thing I didn't say is how important the research is to guide like the other advocacy that we do, and how the work that we do on the legal or policy side is only possible because we have a good understanding of what's happening. So I appreciate like the questions I'm seeing, and the yeah, the chance to learn more from these professors and scientists. That's what we need. So
Are there other questions?
Looks like Terry has a question. Go for it, Terry.
Yeah, you guys are doing some great work that probably need to happen 30 years ago. But I think we really got to push as I've kind of seen a little, what do you want to say? We need more ambassadors for you guys in the fence line communities that are actually embedded in the community. It seems to be a problem because everybody's reluctant to get involved with something like this. You know, going if you approach them cold, but so if we could get the word out, especially the fence line communities, of some kind of solicitation for the ambassadors, it might help. And I know you guys need as many volunteers as you can get for something like that, especially in that embedded in the community. So whatever ideas we can come up there with, solicit this in other publications, the community publications or something like that. If you guys want to come up with some kind of press release or something, maybe it might be a good idea that we can push out there. Because if people don't realize how vital this information is. And I think it's also going to be vital to make Nippon and U.S. Steel realize that they need some corporate responsibility here. Now that they have the money and they have the technology to implement where they could
diminish the pollution in Gary immensely. And you know, Gary's never going to be able to redevelop unless you get the pollution down. So I mean, this is something that we got to make them realize. We see it, we know it, and you're responsible for it. And that's how we got to, I think, approach it too.
Well, thank you, Terry. I just say I've always appreciated your emails that you send out, keeping the community informed about the stuff that is happening at that high industrial level. And we are very much open and willing to find better ways to engage with our constituents. Um, it would be great to maybe chat on email about some ideas you have for reaching out to people. I would certainly personally really appreciate that, because I think it's probably been our biggest struggle so far is really networking with our community members that are at those fence lines that, I mean, the people are obviously discouraged, I think, a lot of times by the way things are going. So thank you for that. And 100%, I would love to talk more about that.
We'll see what we can come up with. And,
That would be
and
great.
like I said, thanks again for all the great work you guys do.
We
It really helps
appreciate
people in the
you
community.
too. I'm sending you an email right now.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone else? Well, I think we all should call this a day. And thank you very much for coming. Valerie and I would like to thank all those for showing up. And we'll see you next month when the speaker for Calumet Revisited will be Dr. Joseph Costas, archivist at Purdue University Northwest. So thank you all for coming, and we'll see you in a month. Okay.
One more thing, Michael, if I could put it in there.
Okay. Okay, Terry.
We do have a project
this is what
going
it
at
cost
state.
you.
Yeah, I'll make a donation.
Okay. Okay.
Where do you want dinner at?
Go ahead, Terry.
But anyway, at State Line Generating, we got a push going on to create green space over there. I mean, that's property that should have public access, and we should have green space over there. And if you go over there, I always refer to it as the data center ghetto, because they haven't really done what they're supposed to do over there for the community. And that is supposed to be, that's actually lake bed property that belongs to the state of Indiana and the people. And the squatters over there, ComEd should have left when they tore down the data center. So there's a big push, and we're working with the city of Hammond to create this green space. And we do have a Purdue student from the landscape architect department that's working through Dr. Thompson to create a green space in that area over there as far as a rendering for it on what we need to do to make it happen in a useful way for the public. So keep that in mind. And like I said, I'm sure there's plenty over there you can find in the ground over there. You know, that coal plant over there for all those years, that's probably not good. So keep that in mind, and hopefully we can make some progress there too.
Yeah, I know Aaron Thompson very well, so it'll be, that's very positive for your project. You've got great people helping.
Oh yeah, yeah. And then also don't forget the data center invasion we're having.
Right.
Because the other thing they're not doing, any of their proposals are not putting anything in there for a green space, migratory corridor, anything like this. And they're going to do a lot of damage to the communities. And I've tried to tell them, I says, it's like back in the 50s and 60s when they built all these subdivisions. Nobody put a retention pond in. So now the basements are the retention ponds. So we can't let them get away with what they're trying to do, where they're ignoring the environment totally in their development. That's it.
All right, thanks, Terry. Anyone else?
No, that'll do it. I'm glad we got that last little bit in.
Okay.
Thank you.
And by the way, this is the first time I met Terry. was Saturday. You know, and so finally know what he really looks like.
That's
So
great.
we'll see you later then. Thank you.
Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you.